talks about not taking your knee over your toe and why that is so detrimental for the body and how it can cause knee pain. And unfortunately, that's just not the truth. That is a myth. That is something that people who have not trained would say. If you're in the fitness game, or if you are in the game of health and exercise, you would realize that taking your knee over your toe is actually one of the best things you can do for your body. Now, there's so much research to show that that is the case. Now, I'm not here to regurgitate the research. It's all out there. What I am going to show you today is, or give an example of how this is, why it works. So the minute you take your knee over your toe, it forces you to move at the ankle joint as well as the hip joint. And this is what's critical, because when you do something or movement like that, it essentially incorporates the whole lower body. You are moving at the ankle joint, the knee joint, as well as the hip joint, which means you are more than likely to recruit the general musculature of the lower body, which means less tension or less concentrated tension in one particular region, and there's more of a transferal of tension across the body. That is the major reason why knees over toes is the best thing you can do, because you're actually training every joint of the lower body, which means that you are dissipating or transferring the load evenly across the body. This is quite important. Now, there are many things that you can do to achieve that, but achieving that is critical. But not a lot of people are speaking about the equivalent for the upper body. And so just as your foot would be similar to your wrist, your knee would be similar to your elbow, and your hip will be similar to your shoulder, it is equally important that you get comfortable bending at the elbow, which will then cause you to get more extension of the wrist as well as extension of the shoulder. You see, when you take your knee over your toe, you are flexing the knee, you are extending or dorsiflexing the ankle, as well as extending at the hip. Same thing in the upper body, in the arm. When you flex the elbow, you are extending at the wrist as well as extending at the shoulder joint. So what does that mean? When you doing some form of exercise, particularly involving the shoulder, let's say a push-up, you are flexing, extending, as well extending at the shoulder joint. You are therefore utilizing most of the muscular structures within the upper body to perform the movement, and that is why there is less load, or the load has been transferred evenly, and therefore no pain. So if you have any shoulder pain, any wrist pain, any sort of pain in the upper body, it is important to eventually get to the point of being able to perform this movement, which is elbows going, in this case, behind the wrist. That is going to be very, very important. So the chest movement or the press movement, whether it's a dip or a push-up, is the equivalent to a lunge or a squat. And I think this is so critical to realize. Now, we are going to go deeper and break up some of these movements, but this is the most important thing to understand, that you want to move every joint of the body to get the best and transferable load across itself. That is more important.